Alright guys, what's going on? Jason Sohail here, and I got two awesome guests with me. I got Jules and Adam, and they're gonna explain to you what awesome things they're doing. So go ahead guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So I'm Adam, amateur artist, Ninja Turtle fan. And this is Jules.
Yeah, and I'm Jules, also super duper amateur artist and super humongous long time Ninja Turtle fan as well. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So we've seen some of your guys' art, and we know that some of it actually got published, and one of your cool drawings of Jen actually got noticed by Stan Sakai.
It was a tribute book.
It was a tribute book.
Oh,
yeah.
So it got published in a tribute book.
And it was also a charity thing as well.
Gotcha.
So basically, it was spearheaded by the TMNT Art Collectors Group on Facebook.
Oh.
All profits made went to the Heroes Initiative.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then they had some artists from like Ben Bishop, I think, had one.
Oh.
The recent ones. So there was like some artists that were professionally and paid, and the artists us fans look up to were actually in the book too. So it was cool to have your stuff in the same book as these people that you really look up to and
Right.
enjoy the stuff that they make.
That's actually pretty cool there. And so right now you guys are working on your own comic book, right?
Yeah.
Rocket Reptiles, which is basically our homage to the 1980s Mirage style black and white comics. It's about basically dinosaurs who are genetically manipulated by robots to fight their war for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is there going to be four of them, and they're going to be named after Renaissance artists as well?
We didn't want to get like that specific about it, but we definitely wanted to take little things that we've grown up and enjoyed and kind of just put it together and use that as part of the inspiration for who doesn't like dinosaurs?
Right.
Who doesn't like fighting dinosaurs that know kung fu? Who doesn't like fighting dinosaurs that know kung fu and use it against robots?
Exactly.
And, getting back into drawing again as well.
Right.
Going into your adulthood and getting life together and then coming back. That's like at least my story. Drawing tons and tons and tons as a kid and as a youth, and then having to take a long break and then coming back to it and finding that love for it again. And those are the kind of fun things that you like to draw,
Right. So, are both of you guys doing the drawing and the writing, or is it kind of like tag team, or how are you guys assigning all that out?
So basically, it started in July. Me and Jules went for his birthday, San Diego, because Kevin Eastman, David Avalone, and Ben Bishop were doing a special event for Drawing Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat there and we got to drink and eat with those guys for 2 hours. And we're like, we could do this. So it went from we could do this to hours and hours of us just refining storyline elements, trying to pay homage to other stuff that we love, but not copying.
Right.
And so I think we've gone through 4 or 5 character changes that we finally settled on something that we really liked.
Yeah.
So to answer your first part of the question is basically we decided that the easiest part to do this is if Jules does 12 pages and I do 12 pages, and we'll highlight the character that he pretty much created and the character I pretty much created and how those two meet each other.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this first issue will be a kind of half and half, and then the next issue will evolve as we're evolving as artists and getting back into art, and learning more. So this first issue, wanted to have a showcase of everything that he's bringing to the table, everything that I'm bringing to the table, and then the next issue you'll see how that kind of comes together, because we will, one will pencil, one will ink, one will do more writing. And then we'll share it more in the traditional sense,
Gotcha. So when you guys are first, getting this out there for the public, are you gonna try to do it like a kind of like a webcomic, put on Facebook or something like that? Or are you gonna try to get the traditional paper and go to the trade shows and try to sell it from there?
So we created a Facebook group called Rocket Reptiles. I did my first 6 pages that are up there for free to read for anybody who wants to kind of get a sample of what it's all about. but we do plan on actually releasing a physical comic book. We're probably going to use some of our tax return and try to get some issues published out there. So
yeah, and we're hoping to get, like, there's a couple of small shelves and a couple of comic book stores, local comic book stores around the city that we visit. One has already said that they would they would allow us to put it on there and put it in there and see if it takes off, or see if we can sell a couple of issues in there. And so we're gonna get to take like a grassroots, just a small start. We don't have a ton of capital or anything, right. So that's and it's more for the fun of making comic books and really that.
Yeah,
so.
No, it's a great hobby to have. I mean, to be honest, like I've always had like ideas of things to do. I just have no creativity of a way to get it done. So don't be stuck in my head forever.
That's it, because neither do I. But it's just fun to try, and it's fun to keep learning. And I think I'm using it in a lot of ways as a way to get better. That way my family doesn't think that I'm just spending hours drawing for no reason.
Creating these comic books has really brought up a lot of stuff that I don't think I've ever really appreciated in a comic book either. So normally doing fan art, because I did that watercolor of Genosuke, and it's Genosuke watercolored. That's it, right?
Right.
And like a fan art is just like, hey, this is my favorite dude in a cool pose. Cool. But that's only part of comic book, right? Everybody knows about the writing, everybody knows about the art, but no one really, I don't think, truly pay attention to the inking process or pay attention to the background artwork. And especially what hit me in the face was lettering is hard. It is not an easy thing, and I think it's an underappreciated art form.
So, let's go into lettering, because as a person, my caliber, who's like never created a comic book, I just assumed lettering just came from a keyboard. How exactly does lettering like happen in a comic?
I guess it depends. I think you have choices nowadays where you can do it on the computer. There's probably, like, if I had an iPad and I was using digital stuff, we're doing, at least this first issue is going to be all paper, scanned in, like traditional style. And so that's, ink to pen, like ink to paper. And that's just, I think, practice, or getting to a point of where you think it's like, okay. And I'm far from it for mine, but but continue to keep refining that and finding, which pens work best for you, and things like that, and blocking it out and making sure that you can fit all the words in, or maybe spacing stuff up or down to fit the area. But digitally, I think you'd be able to save maybe your own alphabet, and then type it in somehow, and probably make things a lot easier on yourself.
Gotcha. That's
like a lot of comic books, like Marvel, DC, the artist does all the work and they don't care about the lettering, and then the letterist will digitally put the thought bubbles and whatnot over it and letter inside the box. We're doing it traditional, like they've done 30, 40, 50 years ago, and a lot of what I'm learning, it's because I'm watching Stan Sakai, who's also a letterist, do tutorials and stuff. And what I do is I do my light pencils, I put where I want my thought bubbles and words to be, and then I erase the thought bubbles, and the first thing that I ink is the lettering, and I work around the thought bubbles. Okay. So not like I'm randomly putting a thought bubble here because there's no artwork here. No, right. I'm putting what I think is aesthetically the best place to put it.
Gotcha. I didn't even think about the like bubbles and everything, because obviously you don't want to. I guess me personally, I just assumed that people just made dead space. I didn't realize that they have like separate people who just kind of find that for you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a certain amount of that, definitely. But it's hopefully about composition and stuff, and keep on getting better at that, so that you can draw the eye into the certain part of the page that you want it to. Keep the momentum going on the read, and the eye going to which part of the page you want it to. But I don't know. I think that's the funnest and hardest part about it.
Gotcha. So obviously Ninja Turtles is a big source of like kind of like of where these radical reptiles are coming from. What other comic books or media are you kind of incorporating this that you guys like liked, and you're like, oh, let's kind of put some elements from here too?
For me, first off, it was something that I liked prior to Ninja Turtles, a toy line called Dino Riders.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs just in general were always awesome. So that was one of the things that I was like, dinos? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that.
I'm just a huge fan of anthropomorphic animals, so like Ninja Turtles, Usagi Yojimbo, that is really a heavy influence on me. But
Battletoads.
But as the nerd in me, man, the nerd in me loves paleontology.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, let's have these superheroes like integrate some of their characteristics into what makes them unique. Like, for example, my guy is a Tyrannosaurus who was genetically modified, but his arms weren't grown.
Oh.
So one arm gets fixed, but the other arm needs a cybernetic enhancement. And like our security guards are going to be Pachycephalosauruses who attack people by slamming their heads in them. Like attributes of actual dinosaur characteristics, and I think it's going to make it fun because I think all the fun comic books have elements of reality in them.
So what kind of like for this comic, like is this gonna be like a satire, or is it gonna be like super serious? Like where are you guys like going in for like the tone?
That's a great question.
I think we kind of want to keep it lighthearted, right? Like, dinosaurs gallivanting in space is kind of a stupid idea.
Yes.
Exactly.
So let's not, make it super serious.
Right.
Yeah. That's, I think, just really have fun with it, and hopefully it'll evolve into a bunch of maybe different styles even, because that would be fun. But more just have fun. It's going to be more cartoony. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Like I'm pretty sure the more fun like you have will translate into the pages, and you'll probably get your audience to appreciate, see how much fun you're having there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like one of the scrapped ideas that I thought was hilarious but didn't fit in the tone in our universe was, what if we had 5 dinosaurs that formed together to form a giant robot that was a man in a business suit? Kind of like opposite Power Rangers.
Yeah. So we really get silly with some ideas, and I don't think like anything totally gets scrapped. We put it somewhere,
right,
and maybe use it later, because that's the fun part, is just building onto this little universe of, and the one part about this comic, or at least this universe, just yet, and the beginning, is there's not going to be any humans.
Oh, okay.
And so you're not going to really see a human character. Maybe it'll be open down the road.
Right.
Who knows? But they're billions of years before humans existed. So until we figure that out, there won't be. And so that's going to be something I think a little different, is that you're just not going to see that.
That kind of reminds me of Beast Wars, actually. How that when that started, it had no humans in there too.
Beast Wars was one of the inspirations for it.
It was nice.
Like my character's gonna be.
He definitely mentioned Beast Wars when we were talking about like putting this together.
Well, my character's gonna be red and purple.
Nice.
Purple being an homage to Megatron.
Nice. Yeah, the Tyrannosaurus and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, Beast Wars is awesome.
Yeah. No, I love that series. What were like some of your favorite like comics or graphic novels like growing up?
Dude, man. So growing up, really, X-Men was a huge influence, right? Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Jay Lee, Rob Liefeld. I know he gets a lot of crap, but I really do enjoy Rob Liefeld. The whole. I was really in that era of the late '80s, early '90s comic book person with fell in that swoop of the Image. The Image comics.
To be honest, when I saw your art, I got a lot of those '90s X-Men vibes. I really got like a lot of Rob, except you can drop feet.
Well, in honesty, again, Scott Williams, who was basically Jim Lee's inker for the longest time, again, an underappreciated person. His inking really takes Jim Lee's artwork to the next level.
Right.
For me, it was the first comic book I got into was ElfQuest when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9.
Oh wow.
And then the like Tales from the Crypt and some of those like horror comic books from Circle K down the road. And then a comic book store opened up, and then it was Wolverine, X-Men, definitely getting wrapped up in the first Todd McFarlane Spider-Man stuff, and then that went into the Image stuff, and Max and Pitt. You know, those were some of my big ones. Dale Keown, Sam Keast.
What current comic books are you guys reading, like right now, like that you're still keeping up with?
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles.
Me too.
Definitely Ninja Turtles, and anything that has to go around Ninja Turtles or any spin-offs. Drawing Blood, which we mentioned earlier, is another one that's, I think, the second volume's coming out soon. Yes. And that's gonna be great. That's really fun. I read some of the, like, Betty Page, the other stuff that David Avalone does.
Yeah.
ElfQuest still.
Nice.
So I try to keep my stuff down to 5 comics a week or a month.
Right.
It's Usagi, Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles.
You sound just like me at the comic store, like, because I go to the comic store once a month. I only pick up Ninja Turtles. I used to pick up some of the other stuff, but then I was like, no, I'm not reading everything else.
I kind of reserve it mostly for that, you know? Yeah.
I mean, in the mid-2000s, I was reading a lot of Teen Titans and Batman, but man, like, I really got sucked into the Blackest Night story arc.
Yes.
But that got ridiculous, man. Everybody had their own Blackest Night. Then there was the Brightest Day, and then there was the New 52, and I just can't keep up with all those comics. That's I like Ninja Turtles. My 5 comics, I'm good to go.
And they're even difficult to keep up with sometimes.
Right. Yeah. What actually got you guys into Ninja Turtles? Did you guys find the comic first, or did you find the cartoon first?
So I'm a little bit, I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm a little bit younger than Jules. So I was right in that demographic. I was 5 years old when the cartoon came out.
Nice.
So my brother and I, we went in Toys R Us, and we happened to find these Ninja Turtles. We like, we don't know what this was, so let's buy them. And my mom bought us. She bought me Raphael and bought my brother Leonardo, not knowing he was a leader and Raphael was the hot-headed brother. And then we watched the cartoon, and as I got older into my younger teens, that's when I started collecting the Mirage stuff.
Nice.
And I guess it was a little bit of both for me, because we did have that comic book store down the road, so I saw when the Turtles first came in and thought they were cool, but that was also coinciding with the cartoon. So I became a real big fan of the comic book alongside of the cartoon when the cartoon came out. So I guess the cartoon is what introduced me.
Right.
And then I always thought the comic was way cooler, you know, but the cartoon was, like, also amazing.
From, like, a comic creator's point of view, like, which of, like, the Ninja Turtle, like, characters, like, it doesn't have to be a turtle, but, like, any of the characters, would you, like, try to kind of incorporate into your Radical Reptiles?
So it was kind of weird because we're talking about personalities, right? Yeah. Because you look at the 4 Ninja Turtles, and they all have their distinct personalities. So, like, we wanted to incorporate something like that with our characters, and actually, Rex, the name of my character is Rex, as in he wrecks things.
Right.
So, I wanted him to be smart and technological, so I wanted him to be like Donatello. Mm-hmm. Like, what if Donatello was a prick? Like, he knows he's smarter than everybody, and he talks down to everybody. And that's kind of how I wanted to have Rex. He's a loner because he's just a jerk to everybody.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I see, for me, it was more like I haven't really pulled anything as far as characteristics out. Some of the things that we want, like, to nod to are the robots. Some of the robot species that are the good. There's good robots and then there's bad robots.
Right.
And the good robots, there's a KP unit, and that's for Kevin and Peter, but it's also for something else inside the universe that is another name. Uh-huh. But, like, little nods like that, for me right now, that's,
So
kind of how I pull from it.
Yeah, so, like, we have 3 characters that are the main characters. We got Rex, who's the T-Rex, Pang, who's a pterosaur, and the nurse robot, LE, which is also an homage to Kevin and Peter, as in
Laird and Eastman.
Nice. Yeah. so you got, like, references all over the place.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, or living electronics is what we'll disguise it under.
Gotcha.
But, you know, they're just winks and nods to things that we like, and there'll definitely be characters that resemble, you know, certain aspects, because you got to have your bruisers, you got to have, you know, your fighters, you got to have your intelligent villains and your intelligent heroes and stuff. So we'll probably be taking a lot of chunks of that, and you'll see similarities, I'm sure, in some ways, but hopefully nothing that goes, oh, that's exactly that, unless we're purposely doing that.
Right.
Well, you know.
Well, like Ellie's full name is actually Ellie-84.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So it's a wink nod to anybody who knows us or knows Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Right. That's I like that. That's very clever right there. Like, what advice have you got from like other comic creators that you really like sunk into you, that what's the best advice that you got from like any like comic book creator?
There was a friend that I met at a college recently that does really good characters, and it's, I guess, just practice, keep drawing, try different, you know, really study the anatomy and perspective.
We're also in another Facebook group called How to Draw Comic Books.
Yeah.
So we read a lot of what amateur critiques have to say. We load our artwork on there. We haven't got a lot of like responses to our own stuff.
Yeah.
But we take what other people critique with other artworks. Like, oh, you know, I like that, and let's do that. And my main thing is really just draw every day.
Yeah.
Draw it. Take that art and draw.
Yeah. The more you do it, the better you get at it. I mean, my wife's an artist, so I know she does that like constantly. She'll just have a sketchbook and she just constantly draw something, just to do something, just so she can get better.
Yeah, so that's really it. It's just draw every day.
Yeah.
And it's nice because now it's become something that's kind of either meditative or part of the routine that kind of relaxes you for the end of the day, or, you know, if you can fit it in that way, that's where I've found success with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what is your bucket list of a comic book artist that you haven't met yet that you really want to meet?
Peter Laird.
Yeah, definitely. Right off the bat, Peter Laird.
We've met Kevin quite a few times.
Eric Talbot.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Lawson.
Yeah.
I met him actually not too long ago. Actually, he's a really good guy.
That's what I hear. Like everybody, and I've definitely seen like his stuff on his Facebook page.
Right.
And he just seems really, really, really cool, and yeah, just amazing.
Jules and I want to try to make it out to the Granite Con sometime, so we can see all those guys.
Seems like that's where they all go.
Nice.
Yeah. Granite
nice.
Con.
Well, hopefully you guys will get out there and hopefully see those guys. It was really nice chatting with you guys. For everyone who's watching this video right now, check the description below to get the Facebook page so that you can read the first few pages of the Radical Reptiles comic. Is there anything else you want to add to anyone who's watching this?
No, thanks for listening, guys, and it's Rocket Reptiles.
I'm sorry, Rocket Reptiles. Did I keep on radical? I'm sorry, I blame drawing.
But they are super radical, so you were right there too. So that's awesome as well.
I'm gonna make sure that every time I say radical, we're gonna put a little blurb over here that says Rocket.
Awesome, guys. All right, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your time and great conversation. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for your time as well. Thank you. And everyone in the Arizona area, make sure you go to the local comic book store and get their comic as well.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Ash Avenue Comics.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thanks.
All right. I like the setup in the background there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, got like some of the 80s.
Yeah.
It's assigned Kevin Eastman signed Raphael animation.
Nice.
So